Just don't.
You're going to have to sit that way too.
Hey.
As far as you can, just squeeze in.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll do it.
That'll do it.
I am.
Helene, you know that? Maybe.
Sure.
There's like a vacant lot on Fletcher and Avenue 35. It's like sort of
Yeah.
across, it's all
Yeah.
hidden, whatever.
Mhm.
There's something, they tore down the cyclone fencing and they're putting in new stuff, new fencing right now.
I've not received anything about that one.
Okay.
Where?
On Fletcher, on Avenue 35, there's a vacant lot on
You know what his name moved out of town, the better
Yeah.
it was?
But they pulled someone pulled the cyclone fencing out and they sunk
Yeah,
poles
used to go to
for like
school, that's school, the classes they
different
took.
fencing. I haven't
Just taking the same class.
Oh, yeah, I remember streetscape just to make it
I believe, I don't know
Not
exactly,
yeah.
but I think he's a
ex-captain.
professional student.
Oh, yeah. And I was walking by with the dog and I was like,
And he was school at night, yeah, he's doing full time.
So we're missing
Nice
all.
guy, very nice guy, very nice.
All right.
So he left, or he actually left?
Those are yours.
All right.
And they're, for now, and there's more.
Right now, we also was cranking up against.
So- It's 7:05, and this is the Joint Board and Economic Development and Land Use Committee meeting, actually, name change, since this agenda was drafted. This is the Joint Board and Planning and Land Use Committee meeting. I'm Marge, I'm the interim chair, and we have 8 members on this committee currently. And roll call.
Sure.
Okay. Marge is here, Colleen is here, Ben,
Here.
Brendan,
Here.
Molly, Laura,
here.
Patrick. Not here. Jared, where are you?
I'm here.
Yeah, you know,
Where?
Jared. Okay, that's 6 out of 8, so that means we have quorums. Okay, item 3, committee member comments and announcements, non-agenda items.
I will start just because, make sure that everybody knows, even though you do, that we're sponsoring, co-sponsoring a Planning 101 session here Saturday, October 8th. And it's going to be bigger and better than Ben and I even imagined when we first got this going. So we would like to see everybody in the Northeast area, primarily neighborhood councils and community-based organizations, to attend, because it's going to be pretty phenomenal educational.
Great. Anyone else have any committee member comments?
Took my good one.
And
Thank
I
you
have
for
lots of
putting
flyers
that on.
to be distributed, the city made for us
Thank you for putting
today.
that on, by the way. It's gonna be a lot of people there.
Yeah. That'd be great.
A lot of red cycles coming. Oh, great.
Good.
And do we have any public comments? Nope. All right, number 5.
Hang on. Just talk slowly.
Okay. Accept self-nominations to fill vacant seat on committee. We have 1 vacant seat on this committee, and if anyone present would like to nominate themselves to be on the Planning and Land Use Committee, please speak up. Not tonight? All right, we'll continue on with 8. Number 6, discussion, possible action to change the date of the November meeting and to confirm quorum for December meeting. The November meeting is on the 24th, last Thursday of the month. It happens to be Thanksgiving Day. Question is, shall we pull it forward by a week, or do we have any other thoughts about it?
The last Thursday is not the, oh, yes, it is. December
Yep.
1st is the Thursday. Okay.
I could do the 17th.
I have no conflicts.
I don't have any at the moment.
You're okay too?
17th would
I
work for
didn't
me.
even look, but I'm sure I can do it unless I get a job.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay, so shall we take a vote on this?
Sure.
To change the November meeting to the 17th.
I'll second that.
Who made the, was that Marge motion?
I did the motion, Brendan seconded. Any discussion? Anybody opposed to that? Okay, anybody abstaining? So unanimous, Helene. Okay, so we also have a meeting in December. It's on the 29th. It's not necessarily a holiday, it just happens during the holidays. The question is, I would think, do we want to meet on December 29th? Or do we want to perhaps not meet at all in December? Or change the date of the meeting?
I won't be here on the 29th.
I won't either.
That's kind of why I was asking about quorum for that meeting.
Yeah, I haven't confirmed it up yet, but I most likely.
Okay,
And the week before is the 22nd, so
So that's
probably
even gonna be-
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if we do one, maybe the 5th. which would
that's
be-
only going to be,
Which
well-
at that point, it's like, we might as well just do January and 2 weeks.
how about if
The
we,
15th of December.
how about if we table the discussion for December until we have the November meeting, so that we'll know if we have a bunch of stuff that's urgent,
Yep.
that we should meet, and then if not, we can just vote at that time to cancel the December meeting. Will that work?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
Does that work?
Yeah, you know, we always get in a little bit of a problem trying to schedule this room.
During
But,
the holidays, yeah.
you know, worst comes to worst.
Do you think we'll be okay for the 17th of November?
I gave a forewarning on it, so
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. All right, so we may or may not be able to get the room in December, but by the end of November, we should be able to look at Mel's calendar and see if we can do it.
And we'll have the extra week still.
Right. Okay, so I move to table the discussion of the December meeting to the November meeting, so that we're better aware of what's going to come up.
I'll second that.
And who was the second?
Brendan.
Again?
Yeah.
I got a quick second, John.
Right.
Are there any abstentions, any noes? All right.
All right, on to the discussion and possible action on the various applications. Items A and B
Yes.
are Hines. Do you want to
I
speak
received
to
an
that?
email from Mr. Adhout today, saying he did not feel well, and could we handle this by a phone conversation? I told him that I would bring this to the committee for discussion.
Is this the one that was here last month?
Yes, he was, and we had concerns that we did not receive enough information from
Top
him.
one. Oh, maybe not. Those guys.
Yeah, right underneath
We're talking,
That.
Yes, the two
Oh.
homes on Hines.
He didn't give us that, yeah.
Yeah, he sent that more recently.
That's not as bad as I was thinking.
And so we were concerned that would be setting a bad precedent if we just did FaceTime with applicants.
Yeah.
That it really, and I don't have a problem with moving this to the next month's agenda. I don't think this is going to be moving forward that quickly. I could check and find out. Do you know something about it, Jared?
Well, I spoke to Andrea about this one a few months ago when he was supposed to come, because I had a question about the way the case had been filed. And yeah, I don't think it would be moving forward either, because we have a specific plan in place in this area, and they haven't filed for project permit compliance review, so they don't have their full entitlements requested yet.
I'll propose and make this a motion that I contact by email Mr. Adhout and BCC the committee, saying that we would be fine placing you on next month's agenda. That works?
Yeah, I think that, in extreme circumstances, we could maybe accommodate a call, but the fact is, we don't have anything to look at besides this.
Yeah.
So he can't even walk us through what he submitted. So I think that we should, let him know that we would like him present.
We also asked at the last meeting for some differences between each property and not having the same house twice in a row, and that doesn't seem like.
This was his response when we asked for that and his landscape plan. So this is,
This is his
Yes.
latest, right? This is the
Yes.
absolute newest file, yeah.
Blows my mind that both of those homes are just 20 feet wide. Each home is 20 feet across. That's insane.
So is that a single car garage?
And that's again why I'm about the specific plan, project permit compliance, you know, there are design regulations in the specific
Yeah.
plan that these could, they haven't been reviewed for any conformance with it, so the design could totally be in flux. I mean, I'm not sure.
Right.
and we haven't even gotten to the roadway issues and the water runoff issues. So I do think it's good if we could have him here and,
And we did actually already send a letter that is in the file on these two properties,
Two.
asking for nothing to be done on them until we have a chance to review. So what we can recommend to the board for the October meeting is that we reiterate for the third time to Mr. Greg Shoup at the planning that once again, Mr. Adu was unable to attend, and therefore we still request, we further request that this not come up. So I would like to move that not only do we not make a phone call tonight and do a phone conversation.
email. I suggested email and I BCC the committee so that we avoid phone conversations.
Right, but did you make a motion to not call him and email instead?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Would you like to second it?
I would love to second that.
All the motion says thus far, unless somebody wants to have a friendly amendment to it, is email applicant, BCC committee, to ask him to attend our October meeting.
And if I recall, the reason he's on today's agenda is because he didn't bring sufficient material to review at the last time. And if this is all he submitted today, that continues to be the case. So maybe for him to bring all
Would you like to be specific about what it is that
plans, whatever.
we would probably need specific wording because this is what he thought he was responding with our request.
Elevation, site plan.
I will say that again. This was his idea of elevations and a landscape plan.
Maybe we need
Can we ask that he sends us everything that he sent to the CA?
Well,
I don't know if
believe
he's-
that we are supposed, when you file an entitlement application, the neighborhood councils are supposed to receive a full copy package of what was filed, so. in theory,
Yeah.
we have one.
Yeah,
Yeah, in theory we do.
that's in a dream world.
In actual fact, mail is dicey here, but also, obviously we want PDF files as well.
Yeah.
So we have to scan everything.
Well, it's supposed to be a digital copy.
Oh.
Digital takes a while for the city to get to, though. So we're oftentimes having our meetings before the city has gotten around to digitizing.
Well, when you file the application, you give them a digital copy of everything. You have to burn it onto a CD or something. So
Really? Because when you go online and you look for the digital thing,
it's
I find the
hardly
new
ever-
ones, it takes a long time to
Yeah.
get there.
So maybe we should
Okay,
press.
so the motion that we have on the table now is to
Meeting.
ask him to come in November on the 17th,
October,
October.
we have another month
Yeah,
before
we do.
November.
Okay.
And bring the elevations and site plan. Anything else?
Are we doing anything with Greg Shoup?
What, can we add that to this motion, or should we make a second motion?
I didn't hear what he said.
I was about Greg Shoup, sending another, asking the board.
Let's separate the motions.
That's what I thought. Okay, so this motion on the table,
And we'll probably leave it at that. Is there any abstentions? Anyone opposed? All in favor, unanimous. Okay, I will do that. And then, second motion.
are you ready? I move that this committee recommends to the full board that we add one more letter to the file on this project to Mr. Shoup, informing him of Mr. Adut's absence and that we continue to be unable to support the project for lack of information.
Second that.
That's Brendan.
Hang on, I'm still writing your motion. I recommend the full board that we add another letter to Mr. Shoup that we have still not,
We still need additional information.
that we still,
That Mr. Adut did not attend and that we need more information. Welcome, Patrick. Got a job tonight, eh?
Yeah.
I saw it.
who had the second on that motion?
I wish I could go.
Yeah.
Is there any abstentions? Any opposed? All for it? Unanimous.
Okay, great. That's it for items A and B, I believe. Yes. Okay, item C.
Wait a minute, let me just clock it, his entry. Can you go that way as much as you can, Patty? Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, he's here. He's here.
Mike Brown.
Here. Colleen,
Hello.
do you want me to try to stand in front of the camera somewhere?
No, not to worry about
Okay,
it.
Great.
So this item is C, 4247 North Eagle Rock Boulevard. It's a new mixed-use 59-unit apartment, 35% density bonus with retail, and Mike Brown is here to talk about it again.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mike Brown. I'm one of the owners of Local Construct. Most of you know me or have seen me before. We're a local developer. Our headquarters is in Atwater Village. We own a variety of buildings in Northeast LA, mostly apartment buildings, some commercial. We own a commercial building in Glassell Park by the Super A between Cypress and San Fernando. That's an old boat trust building that is like a design campus now. And we have this project, which I've presented. This is my third time here at the Land Use Committee. So I've been here through two names of the committee. There's a 59-unit market rate apartment building with 5 units, 5 of the 59 reserved for persons of very low income. And I'd like to walk you through kind of some of the changes that we've made over the different times we presented here, and I presented earlier this month, wasn't it? At the GPIA. And I thought that went pretty well. Would you mind scrolling to the next shot that's a kind of head-on? So this is just a frontal view of the building along Eagle Rock Boulevard frontage with the street trees deleted from the rendering so we can kind of see what's going on. So we might have to zoom in a little for you to see, but over the successive iterations, we've changed the siding from just a flat cement board siding to a shingled version of the same product. We changed around a little bit the locations of the balconies, and we put that wood siding inside the balconies. We have added architectural detail to this concrete mass here to make that more interesting. We improved the garage entry door here. We added these 4 windows, we've added 2 of these 4 windows, and we added these windows at street level. We did some work on the way this concrete awning comes out. We added in at the corner, you can see actually, and there should be another shot of the corner from the commercial corner. It should be in the front of towards the top of the PDF. Is there one of the other corner? There you go. So this corner was of some concern at the corner of Eagle Rock Boulevard and Avenue 43. And if you recall, we've had an iteration where that was all stucco white and an iteration where it was all sided. And kind of everybody had some consternation with both of those. So, you know, we've settled on this where you have a little bit of both to add texture, and then we've put that colored graphic along the stucco portion of that wall. And we also designed the building identification signage and located that there to try and make that corner more interesting visually. We added in the building signage, so we've added that to, that'll be approved now as part of our submittal as opposed to a separate signage submittal. And we thought that we went back and forth designing that for the restaurant, and there's of course a cafe down at the other end of the project. We thought that made it a little more interesting. And then if you can go back to the head-on view, the biggest changes that we have made since I last presented to this group are a few of these windows weren't quite there last time. I think we did these two, and we've since added the ones at the street level. We actually changed around, and I can show you in plan view. We deleted a few parking spaces, and we moved some others around, and we got this door in here at the street level, and that came somewhat out of our conversations here, and we also had some conversations with the planners downtown to try to get some more activity mid-block in that mass. So we currently are planning to use that as our management office, so all of our in and out will happen there. We had a plan to move the bicycle parking into that room, and it's not, we can't get enough room there to fit all the bikes in one place. So our commitment is that that be an active use, and so it will definitively be our management office during the lease up, and then we'll see, and if that office is not busy enough, then we'll make that into bike parking, and you'll have your kind of short, we'll then be over parked for bikes, but there will be a reason for people to go in and out of that door, so that there's a real space. This cafe has remained really the same, but we made some pretty significant changes in the restaurant. So we worked on the windows there at the restaurant, and in particular, we put this bulkhead into the bottom of the window frame, and that meets some very specific language in the CDO, because we have a lot of those old storefront, built-up window frames in the neighborhood, and the Glassell Park CDO addresses that specifically. And then the other thing we did, if you'll go down to about the second plan view, that's an architectural sheet. No, keep going. Keep going. Back one, sorry. Yes. Okay. One of the most significant things we took from conversations with you all, conversations with the council office, planners, and the GPIA was the importance that these restaurant uses be active and real and try to turn on Eagle Rock Boulevard. So we made a commitment. If you recall, originally this space was at this depth, and it just was it was originally designed as a retailer office space. And so the conversation we had with the council office in particular was, look, we think we meet the intent of the CDO, but we want to meet you guys more than halfway. What if we commit to making this a restaurant, a real restaurant, full service? We can't control who the operator is, but we can commit to building it out with a grease trap and the venting and everything that's required for a full service restaurant. So we made that change, and when I presented the GPA last month, it was really kind of still just this size, but it was just a restaurant. And then the response we got was really very positive. People seemed like, maybe we disagree here or there on how this looks, how that looks, but like this is a big deal for the neighborhood. So we actually, when we got back to the office and we were looking at it, we studied the code and we figured out that we could lose a few more parking spaces, and so we added this onto the restaurant here. So now this is a 1,600 square foot full service restaurant space with the ADA bathrooms in it. And that's big. And we actually interviewed some restaurant operators that we do business with and people that we know. And they said, at 1,000 to 1,100, which is where we were before, you could definitely do like a sandwich cafe, but it's on the borderline for a full service restaurant. But now at 1,600 square feet, there's legitimately room to have a kitchen and a regular restaurant. And then it's worth noting that the property line's out here in front of that facade. So there is room for on-street cafe seating. So we've started reaching out to some restaurants. So in our experience, you don't secure those people until you've built out this portion, at least the structure, and they can stand inside it. But we've got some good ideas for restaurants from around Northeast LA who will try and get in here. And if you've got some ideas, we'd be interested in hearing those too. And we probably have a 16-month build out for this building from when we break ground. So we've got the time to do it, but our commitment is, we will do what we need to do to get a restaurant in there. Then you need to do what you need to do to make sure they succeed by eating there on a regular basis. So that was really the biggest change. The one other concern has always been this transformer at street level. And we've gone to DWP and we've gotten their verbal approval that we go ahead. They let us move it back 1 foot, and they said that they would accept a rolling metal screen in front of it. So it can be screened from the street and secured, or we'll put a Knox box with their key on it so they can roll that out of the way. This has to be clear on every side and open to the sky. So, we recognize, like if you go back to the front-on view, that that's not the optimal location for the transformer, but you gotta be able to pull their truck up, you gotta be open to the sky, you gotta be clear on every side. And you can't be within 20 feet of an exit, and all these constraints just add up to the point where the only way to move that transformer, we'd have to redesign the whole building.
So where would it be?
So this is the transformer here. You can kind of see it, it's this box. And it'll have a perforated metal screen in front of it. And so that screen, if they need to work on the transformer, which is typically just like an emergency procedure, it's just going to roll back and sit right here in front of this window. And the rest of the time it's going to be right here. And then where this doorway is the one that comes out from in the parking area on the side of the restaurant. So that'll just have a little piece of matching metal fence that comes from the edge of this concrete to here to make this corner. So it can be secured, it's not become a haven for street homelessness or anything like that. And it's going to just be a perforated metal screen with the design on it. So that's kind of the best option that we've been able to come up with for that transformer. And essentially where we are is, we have a density bonus case and what's the word I'm looking for? CDO case.
Uh-huh.
And so we don't have a hearing. We're not required to present and do all this stuff. We hope you guys are convinced now that we really mean to be a good partner here and take your input into account. We would love to have a letter of support from you guys for this project. I don't think we probably totally have to have that, but at the very least, if you guys are willing to call the council office and say, hey, these guys have worked hard and we don't oppose the project, I think that would be our goal. So I've got the information. I'm happy to stand for questions, happy to take input, fire away.
I just have a quick question. It may seem kind of trivial, but from the vines coming up in the building to the left side?
Yeah.
Are those vines, or is that like a living wall, or?
It is a green wall system. So if you scroll down to, there's a couple of different pictures I can show you.
So is that something that will look green when you guys are done?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
To be perfectly honest, I don't know if it's going to look as green as it looks there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not going to be 3 feet tall.
Yeah, and it won't take a year to grow up or something.
So, well,
Maybe a year.
it's obviously going to grow year over year, but if you go back to that plan view of the landscape,
Sure.
with the green on it.
Sorry, one second.
Yeah, sorry, these architectural sheets are like massive.
Yeah, that threw me off. Which sheet to go to?
It's a plan view of the landscape sheet. So, let's go to this picture first.
Okay.
Sorry, it's the other corner. One more. Is there one more?
Should be.
Should be a view from
No,
here.
that's page 1, isn't it?
I think
Oh,
forward.
sheet one,
Yeah.
yeah. To
There we
This
go.
one.
Okay, so in the two areas where we have this green wall, there's a metal screen affixed full height wherever you see that green wall. And then I'll show you next in plan view, we've located the planters like at the wall, at the base of that, with the water detail and everything, so you can actually irrigate it and get it to grow. So that's, we asked the same question. We don't want to do this and not have it work.
Yeah.
We're going to do something else. So our landscape architects believe that that's going to work.
Oh, so we'll be growing, it won't be planted on one of those living walls, it will be a planter at the bottom growing up?
Correct.
Okay.
So those are trellises
Yeah.
that sooner or later will have green on them.
So it
Metal
may,
trellis.
may take a while.
Yeah, but the screen, I asked the same question. The screen, they'll actually buy as mature as you can get, which is like a 20-foot vine or something like that, and then they tie it to the trellis, and they grow pretty quick.
I think that the green adds a lot, you know,
Absolutely, yeah.
adds a lot. It'd be nice to see that.
Because I said
as
the
quickly
same
as
thing, like,
possible.
if this isn't gonna work, let's put something else on here,
Yeah.
like a hard material.
Well, first, I just a comment, which I think, from what I saw in July, I think there have been some just subtle changes that have really made a big difference in the way I am reacting to it. I think I really like the way it is now. You mentioned a couple times that you were able to kind of remove some of the parking.
Yeah.
Did you have surplus parking, or how did you shift that around? Did you
We
replace?
did, so we were a little over parked. We now have 88 spaces for a 59-unit building plus the restaurant. What was driving the parking beforehand was the restaurant use. And in fact, when we were first asked to consider changing that retail space into restaurant use, we thought it was going to just destroy our parking calculation. However, we're in an enterprise zone. I mean, we're off Boulevard,
Yes.
so you get a reduced parking requirement for a retail business. And so that saved the day.
Okay,
And so there is,
so it's still fully parked?
it's fully parked per code.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
How about this parking garage here? Is that the only entrance into the garage?
No, there's actually an entrance over on Avenue 43 also, which you can see if you look at the picture on the other side, or if you want to go to plan view, I'll show you the parking.
Like an alley in the back?
It's actually right
Behind
behind
that
that tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a curb cut mid-block right there.
Couple of questions. You say there's 5 affordable out of the 59 units, and that was the 35% density
Correct.
bonus.
Yeah.
What is the average size of the units, and what is the size of the affordable units?
So the affordable units are just chosen from the unit mix. You just design your building, period. You submit it to housing, and they pick the units. The housing department picks what units are going to be affordable.
Really?
Yeah. So we don't choose, we certainly don't design a different unit to be the affordable unit, but in point of fact, we don't even pick which units are which.
So it's not based on square footage at all?
No, it's based on the mix. So we have 27 one-beds, 29 two-beds, and 3 three-beds. And in fact, the housing department, frankly, to our dismay, said we want one of the 3 beds. And we went back and forth, and they weren't going to budge on it, so we said, fine, have a 3-bed. So they will have a 3-bed, 2 two-beds, and 2 one-beds. And they just kind of mirror your unit mix percentages.
Interesting. Just a couple comments. I really do love the changes you've made, and I'm glad that we have a potentially full functioning restaurant.
Yeah.
I went to the location. I've passed it a lot lately, and I've taken a look. And the house that's right here,
Uh-huh.
it's not even so much its relationship to the back of the building. It's this portion of the building, because this is actually an uphill.
Correct.
Quite steep.
Steep.
And so when you're doing 4 stories and you're going uphill, it is getting really tall, and that's their backyard. And the apartment building right here actually kind of tried to slope with the uphill so it didn't bulk as much as
Yeah.
yours. So yours is going to have a pretty visual hop up on that hill.
So, I mean, that's, I would say is that's partially true, but there are some mitigating factors. So, we're just 4 stories. So here we're 2 and 2. So 4 stories at the highest point. So in terms of building height, this right here is actually the highest point. And then we come level into the hill. So at our backyard, in terms of absolute height from Eagle Rock Boulevard, you're correct. But in our backyard, when we're at grade with the backyards of our neighbors, we're 2 stories above that grade. And our bottom 2 stories here are buried underground.
They're buried underground.
Correct.
So you're cutting into the hill.
Correct. So we take this level right here. If you go park in a very back parking spot, you're running roughly level from your entry at Eagle Rock Boulevard all the way to the back of the garage. See what I mean?
So it's not underground parking? It's
Well-
essentially underground, but you're not.
And excavated.
Correct.
Right.
We just, the hill's going up like that. We sit here at the street, we're gonna cut straight in. And then the grade is gonna match the adjacent grade around our mass, but if you're standing in there is a rear yard, and if you're standing in the back of it, it's gonna be 2 stories of apartments above that rear yard.
So you will be 2 stories above the house, the backyard.
The adjacent backyard, Leo's house.
But there's no like utility poles back there, is it all underground?
Yeah. So our utilities all come in through the street, the transformer's here, the water comes in through the street, I can't remember, the gas pump being out before 43. And they all just come into our garage and are distributed internally.
Is that landscaping what you plan? Are those jacaranda trees?
Correct, so those are, I didn't bring the sheet that details the species.
I think I saw it.
I think that might be in here, yeah. Is there it'll be plan view blow-ups of landscaping? Yeah,
Crepe myrtle.
crepe myrtles, Australian willows. If you actually go up to the other one that looks like this. Probably like one. Oh, yeah. So this is in fact back. All of this landscaping that you see is up on top of our podium deck. So this is the backyard of that front portion of the building. You know, the building makes this big L. So this is Leo's house and the other house right back here. And so these are Pittosporum, 36 inches on center. They're 4 to 6 feet wide, and they'll be 12 to 16 feet tall. So if everybody's familiar with Pittosporum, probably they're our quintessential Northeast LA hedge. So that should provide a pretty significant buffer for the immediate neighbors there.
Great. Anybody have any further questions? Marcy?
I didn't see the plans before you made all the fabulous changes, and thank you for adding the restaurant and all those changes.
Yeah.
It still looks boxy to me. Is there a way to make more curves or
There,
triangles or add art or something like fun bicycle? I don't know.
yeah, I've been asked this question before, and the only real opportunity I see there, we considered putting a piece of art here at the corner because we had this long back and forth about what are we going to do with this corner. And the 2 problems with that are that, number one, there are even more opinions about art than there are about architecture. And number 2, there's actually a separate city process you have to go through, like is it called the Arts and Culture or Arts and History Department? There's a whole separate thing to talk about art, and we just can't open ourselves up to that. The one opportunity that I would be open to, if you guys, and I'm curious what everybody thinks, is if you like this colored geometric pattern, you know, I'd be willing to look at what it looks like in here, if you thought that would help.
Couldn't hurt.
I think that might be nice, but also, did you consider not using I'm assuming those are like white vinyl windows? Whatever the windows are made out of? Did you consider using a color instead of white for the windows?
We've looked at a couple different ways, and we think the white looks best.
Uh-huh.
And you would typically either use a white or a black,
Right.
but in a black building, it pops.
Right. If it were me, I would use a different color on every window. I mean, make the building art.
There's an artist for you.
What?
Or maybe even a mural?
We considered that, but that gives us the same art
Oh, does it?
issue. And of course, it's not just you guys and the Arts and Culture Commission and everybody else, it's also all the people who want to live in the building, and
Right.
who knows, we'll have right brain, left brain, you know, in the middle people. To answer your question about the boxiness, you know, this is because this is like more of a meta question that we're involved in across the body of our work. And, you know, in our apartment development business, we try to do things that are design sensitive and contextually sensitive, but we also try to deliver apartments kind of to the middle of the market. Like, our hope is that these are not cheap apartments, but they're by no means luxury high-end apartments. And that, when you want to be able to hit those rents and have a project that's economically feasible, you're going to have to frame it in wood. And that's the thing that puts you immediately into a pretty architecturally limited palette. And even within the context of wood, you know, for instance, we had a lot of discussion at one of these meetings about what if we put a different roof on here, like a gabled roof, like our neighbor has next door. But number one, that would change the entire architectural style of the building. But number two, it would also add a significant amount of height and mass to the building. And this just barely clears the height with the density bonus, the plane of the slope. So I say that just as a way of kind of sharing with you what are the constraints that we operate under to try to make these things work. I mean, I agree with you. I would do a lot of work with Santiago Calatrava if everything else was, you know, equal.
Okay, anybody else?
What is on the roof?
So this is a parapet, and so this will drop down a few feet behind that, and then it's just a flat roof. And there's mechanical equipment on the roof that is mostly in the back, in the long mass, and in the center. So you won't be able to see it from anywhere except for on the roof.
And tenants won't have access to it, it's just the front is the only outdoor space that they'll have.
Correct, yeah, there's no roof deck.
The people on the hillside above it, though?
I don't believe so.
Well, it
Because-
continues to go uphill.
You know, I'll go out there and look, but I don't think it goes very much further up the hill from where we are. It does continue to go up, but I don't think there's anyone anywhere near this that's going to be able to look down over the parapet into the top of the second floor.
Well, I do know, I take York, and York is already above this because it's up the hill, and then there's hills above York.
Yeah.
If that was an issue, would you consider some,
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've done that plenty of times where you put in the middle of the roof, you put a screen around the mechanical equipment. It's not a problem.
Sorry, how green are you?
So this meets the code. We'll be in the 2015 IBC, 2014 IBC. I can't remember what the latest one is. So it meets that, and it meets the applicable green standards in the city of Los Angeles, which puts us pretty high as far as a nationwide basis. I can't say we're going over and above that in particular, but we're capturing and filtering all our stormwater. We typically insulate our buildings to a very high degree. The vinyl windows provide a very high thermal break.
By the way, are they open and closable, or is this fixed panes on them?
That is a good question, and I can't recall. I can get you the answer to that question. but I can't remember what it
Yeah,
is.
that's kind of a big deal with 6 months of heat.
Full air conditioning, right?
Or you'd be able to use less of the AC individual units, maybe?
We typically put operable windows in all our developments, but
They don't look like.
I just can't recall because they're that big. If they are operable, it'll be one of these quadrants that's operable. But I can get you that answer.
And are they double pane in the front, so the noise from the Brook Boulevard is less? or-
Yeah, we almost always use doubles and triples. They're quiet.
Anybody have any more questions for Mike? Does anyone want to make a motion on this?
I'll move to support this project. He's come many times, he's done things that we've suggested and asked, and I think with the restaurant space, this could be a great addition to our neighborhood.
Nice, nice.
Who did?
Jim.
I live right across the street from this, literally right across the street from this, so it'll be nice to not see a pit there anymore.
Or a massage place with tinted windows. Yeah, we are in a housing crisis, and, you know, this helps.
I really do appreciate how much you paid attention to the community's wishes, and the restaurant says a lot toward that. So
You'll be our first restaurant.
it will be our first sit-down, I mean, depending on what goes in there,
Yeah.
yeah, we're pretty in need of a restaurant
Can
here.
I ask, so are you the neighbor?
Yes.
And you support this
I
project?
support this.
That's-
So you're the neighbor behind or next to? Behind.
He would be the guy who would hate it the most.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh,
okay.
well, that's good to know.
Glad you're here and thank you Okay, good, thank you. Glad to hear your support.
Are there any abstentions? Are there any objections? We all in support?
Yes,
Yes.
Thanks, everybody, I really appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
thank you. Good luck.
Yeah, build quickly and quietly, thank you.
We will. And our website's localconstruct.com, and we're literally 2 miles away from here. So if you guys have any issues, you can email us all the time. We've all got my contact information. You let us know, and we'll make it right.
Yeah, I also appreciate that it's a local company, not someone from, you know, Beverly Hills or Hollywood come in and make a quick buck.
Right.
Mike, could you send out a notice to the surrounding area? Great, thank you.
You guys should have got one. We put you on the list, so.
Thank you.
Hey,
That's the mail for you.
Next item. We have 2750 Casitas Avenue. This is the new mixed-use building with 419 units.
Our notes in brief are on the minutes, which if you turn your agendas, I did a list of the comments for that project.
Is this rendering updated from last time?
Beg your
No,
pardon?
this is going to be the same material.
Okay.
We didn't expect Mr. Gonzalez to be here because
It's very early in their process.
he had already presented to us once,
Right.
so, and our meeting was going so long, we decided to discuss at this meeting.
I just want to say that in the interim, Atwater Village Neighborhood Council has had a meeting about this. They feel that this is in Atwater Village. We feel it's in Glass Hill Park. But they were extremely vocal. I wasn't able to make it to their meeting. I was working that night. But they definitely were wanting to talk about this with us. I think one of the things that stands out to me immediately, particularly since speaking with Mr. Brown, is that they have a couple things. They have their 35% density bonus on a project that's, what is it, 519? 400 and something. And I forgot how many of those are affordable. Was it 35?
35 affordable units.
They are all the apartments that are under 500 square feet. So essentially no families. And they're affordable. They also made a comment, and this one really struck me because I'm usually in bumper-to-bumper freeway in the mornings on the 2, and I just keep staring over there. And they said that the top of their parking lot, which I believe, the building next to the parking lot is 6 stories, the parking lot is 5 stories, would be running about parallel with the freeway. No, I think the Greco right now runs about parallel with the freeway, and it's a large commercial building, so I'd say it looks like 2.5 stories. So if you went up to a 6-story thing, I think it would be considerably higher.
I think they said that it would be significantly over because we were
Oh, did they?
discussing putting art on that so that when you drive by, instead of looking at a big building, are looking at art.
Ah, okay.
Oh, right, it says right here, facade facing the Glendale Freeway landscaping murals.
So was there any development in the buy-in of the G2 parcel? Did that
That's,
council hold a vote on that?
The council
That's-
hasn't voted as well, so no. You know?
I think there was a step forward today. I don't know what it was. I didn't have a chance to. But I think it's a good idea also to maybe meet with Atwater or whatever we can do to be in contact with them. Because even though, if it's in Glassell Park or not, let's say it is, I think it is, that most of the traffic is going to affect Atwater Village.
Absolutely.
So I think it's fair that we both have a say on this, and I don't know, maybe once when they get a little further along, maybe have a joint meeting with both of our committees and have to give us a nice detailed presentation.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, because this is the type of project that could take a long time. It could have its own special meeting, and it could have a lot of community members there as well. So.
Right. They didn't talk about any kind of time frame on this, did they?
No, only that it was at its very earliest stages at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we want to try to maybe,
Maybe
Ask
after
for a-
after the holidays.
maybe like ask Atwater Village if they'd like to have a joint meeting about this project?
In January? You know?
Maybe.
Unless maybe we can contact them to see if they'll have more for us before then, or if that, maybe get a feel for when would be a good time to have that meeting. And then set it up. I imagine it'd probably be until on top of the holidays,
Right,
right?
I would think. But we don't know where they are in this process. Like, Mike, you said that you had to go downtown and run your stuff through, and they had a lot of comments and a lot of changes to be made, and that's the reason that you weren't able to come back immediately. You had to go back and make a bunch of changes. The same thing is going to happen here, is that not correct?
They certainly do. People have one early on.
Especially for a project like this,
Right.
near the river where all the permits going.
So you're suggesting that we have kind of maybe try to get this meeting earlier so that we can give them our suggestions when they're doing their plans?
Well, we can't do anything as a committee, but we can ask the board to authorize us to maybe organize a joint meeting with Atwater Village so that we're not, basically not redundant, and we're also more, we put up a unified statement. So
I'll second that.
Should we look for November? Before the holidays or after?
let's find out what Atwater wants to do and give them options.
Yeah.
I mean, I think either November or January. I don't think we
Yeah.
want to add a meeting in December.
Can we keep the motion vague, because we first have to go to the board with this?
So what we
and,
want is what?
I would suggest that you go to the board with the intention of going to Atwater Village, suggesting that we have a joint meeting at a time that is convenient to all three parties.
Second that.
Well, I'm giving it too much. Any opposed? No, okay, fine. We're all unanimous? Okay, good.
Just on an aside, has the committee or the neighborhood council in the past ever had like an ad hoc committee for large projects just to evaluate those projects? I know some other neighborhood councils who do that when they have large scale projects coming.
But that would then add a whole nother tier. So then you have the ad hoc,
Well,
you
they
have
kind
the
of
committee,
replace
you have
the-
the board.
It's just, I mean, I was just asking
Right.
if it's happened. Because,
No.
sometimes these larger scale projects are too, kind of what we're talking about, it's too much to discuss in an agendized meeting like this. If you want to go into real detail with them.
It's still going to be an agenda.
It also seems
No,
like
I
there's a
mean,
lot, but not every meeting has
Dedicated
like.
to just.
Right.
project.
And we may end up having to do something like that, or, you know, have it be the one or one of maybe two items that we discuss at any given meeting.
Also, most times it's like, it's usually just residential buildings, you know? It's not like we have 2 apartments every month, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Item E, 3395 Cazador Court.
Oh,
This is an addition of 527 square feet to an existing home in the Mount Washington Civic Plan.
yeah, they're never going to respond to me.
Right.
That's just the way it is.
We sent a letter on the 28th of July, we voted to send, or the board voted, no, we voted to send a no information letter. Our basic, we don't have enough information to be able to support this project. And in August, the board approved it and it was sent. So,
Eden is the representative for this project. She said, "No, I really don't want to. You could try and talk to the owner if you want to," which is very unusual. This is usually the job of the representative, that they come and do this. So that's that.
So is this a case where we would like to consider supplementing our previous letter with another letter saying we don't expect to hear about this? Or, you know, we've invited again and we have had no, I mean, what's the next move here is what I'm trying to say?
Take it up.
Well, you know, first of all, we support people improving their properties, and so it's, I don't think this is a major development that is going to have a big impact on the community. So I don't really want to be in the position of feeling like we're reprimanding somebody.
Sure. Are they asking for any variances or anything, or are they all within?
They're just asking for the specific plan performance review to show that they're in compliance with it.
Why don't we not write a letter saying we can't, we just say we don't have enough, well, that's what you said.
I believe that we already have the letter out, we could just let that stand.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
just let it
yeah.
ride.
So,
I mean, my only concern would be is if there have, you know, if this is a second story and it's buckets of hotels, I don't know, you know, other than that, I don't see why it wouldn't be a problem.
Isn't it?
Well, if it's blocking someone's view or something.
I don't know about that.
It says it's
3
3 story.
stories.
It's going from, I guess, 900 square feet to 1,427.
My concern was it looked like it was 2 separate structures, like possibly two homes on the lot. It wasn't, I'm not a concern, it was my question. But it's not a burning question, it won't cause me to lose sleep.
Okay, so do we want to just table this, not act on this one?
I always just close that out.
Yeah, let's just take it off, take it off.
All right, so do we need to vote on that?
Motion to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think pretty much a motion to drop 3395 Cazador from our list of projects that we're following.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, good.
Who did?
Ben made the motion. I'll second it.
Yeah, it's this first ground floor breakdown, 1,400 square feet, second floor NA, third floor MA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, we can't really prove it, like support it because we don't know what it is.
Are there any abstentions? Any in opposition? It passes unanimously.
Okay, the next project is 3564 Kinney Street. It's a ZA determination for relief from the street access requirements. Colleen, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, it was my fault that I was, it's the wrong number on the agenda. And when we found the email, I emailed Liz about this meeting. She said there is nothing happening right now. I mentioned the